part of my journey the first time around, and I just want to puzzle it out with you guys right now because what I'm building and creating, I think borderlines, I kind of like mix them all together, right? The spirituality and the self-help and things I've learned about food in my body. And I realize it's kind of all the same stuff. It's all about creating that space inside so I can find what lights me up. And so there's this greater something driving me, right? But when we're constantly consuming, right, which we all love to consume, and I realized even in the past 2 years when I had just been really sick and in this weight gain era that my spiritual practices had diminished. And just when you need them the most is when it feels the hardest. And sometimes we go through these trials and tribulations, I think, to find ourselves again and find this next journey in our purpose. And anyone that's had a big weight loss that they didn't feel like they were white knuckling and was like this glorious heart-opening upheaval will understand this. And I know I've had some comments on here before about, oh my gosh, yeah, are we just all awakening? Is this the spiritual awakening? And I think some of us, our path is there through our bodies and through food. And others of us, it's through some other trauma or some other goal we're seeking for, relationships or money or something like that. But it's all the same shit. It's all finding this highest and best self and to serve our purpose here. And I know I'm getting a bit into the woo here, but that's okay because I am woo. Like, I love this stuff. What stuff like meditation and oracle cards and I get meeting with my spirit guides. What, like, I have this suspense of belief in the other, right? But I'm curious. And in the curiosity, I have found building trust with myself, right? Building trust from this place of like, oh, what do my cards have to say to me today? And then I look inside and I say, oh, this is that message. This is the message I was meant to hear today. You know, and it's always something. Sometimes it can be on like the picture of the card or in the words the author wrote, you know, or just like it'll just like fall out on the floor. They're like, oh, well, that's a real big sign, right? And it's fun. Isn't it fun to think of it like releases the attachment to all of the things. It releases the attachment to the goal, to the ultimate weight loss goal when you're allowing it. Like, the more I create space, the more I don't eat emotions, the more I sit in the emotions, the more I hear what my soul's in there trying to say. You know, they say we have this internal GPS. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Hi there, welcome. I'm talking about spirituality and weight loss and bringing the woo into our lives, like starting to really understand this side of us that wants something more and that is so connected to everyone and everything around us, and how learning more about that, about ourselves, can really crack open everything else. And it makes it enjoyable. You almost look forward to it. You're like, okay, what's going to happen if I sit in this time? You know what I mean? What's that going to look like? So I was thinking about this because one of the women in my group, I reached out and I was like, hey, how's it going? Is there anything you'd like to see more of? And she's like, well, I came for the woo and you've been delivering, but I'd like to see more of that woo. And I got thinking, because it's really what this journey is a spiritual weight loss journey. I mean, I lost 120 pounds not counting a calorie, you know, not doing anything but checking in with myself. And that's not true. I did a lot of other things on the way. But one of the most successful things I found, you guys, was intermittent fasting. And the irony in that, because what is intermittent fasting but sitting in it? Right? Like, our bodies are made to go for days without food. This goes back to like ancient times, right? Like, I used to think, oh, people are starving themselves, like all of this stuff. And then I had already lost my weight when I found fasting. And I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to try this because autophagy, cell renewal, rejuvenation, there's so much science behind it, right? So I do this intermittent fasting and I was like, oh my God, I really don't need very much food. And my body was more powerful because you know why? Back in the day, you guys, when we had to go hunt shit to eat, like, sometimes you didn't eat for weeks and you had to be strong to go hunt the tiger. It just biologically makes so much sense when you know about it, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play with this and do this. But it's also a huge spiritual journey, not shoving your face with food all the time, right? Like giving yourself a break, not shoving your mind full of watching things constantly, of creating space for yourself. That's what meditation does. That's what journaling does, right? It gets your thoughts out of your head so you can see them or not see them, just expel them, right? So you can coach yourself, so you can move on from it. Hi guys, thanks for joining. And we're walking the pool today. Let me show you guys. I am here in Hawaii, and this is my pool walk. This is the habit I created this quarter. So in my community, we create one habit a quarter. You're only allowed to focus on one, because you know what happens when you try to focus on too many, your brain can't take it and then you end up doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like it just shuts down. So that's my rule. You can only pick one habit to work on every 90 days. And sometimes it's going to take longer than 90 days. Like we learned from James Clear. An average is 66 days. And sometimes it can take up to 256 days. And sometimes you can make it as quick as a week, depending on how close your neural pathways are or whatever. And this is why it's easy to like hop back on the bike, right? Because you've already been there. You already have that pathway made. Okay, now you guys got me talking about habits, and I was trying to talk about spirituality and weight loss. But that's like part of it too, right? Because when my habits are better, when I'm not better, that's judgment, but when I'm in the pocket, when I'm not consuming everything, when I'm doing the things I set out with intention to do and living intentionally, this is what my heart looks like. It cracks my heart open. I feel like I'm engaged in life. I'm like living and breathing with the world around me, right? With the trees and the butterflies, you know? Yeah, George, we totally have a storm over here. So here's what happened this morning. It's been storming for like 2 days, and this is my new habit, right? So I wasn't able to go and do my pool habit. Yesterday, I did my little treadmill, and then I was just planning to do that today, which I hate because then I don't get out of my house, right? So I was sitting working at my desk, and I had the window open, and I saw the sun come out. You guys, I put my suit on so fast, I was like, I'm out of here. And I got here and there was no one in the pool but me. Like literally, it was like crickets. I was like, yes, this is great. So then I tried to start to recording stuff, and then the blower started, and then, you know, just shit started happening. So okay, back to my point of this, because I gotta talk this out so I have it ready for my podcast. So talking about spirituality and weight loss. Have any of you guys been on a weight loss journey before? Just curious. Because back in 2018, I had gotten like over 300 pounds, and I was just like over it. And the only thing I had known to seek my whole life was weight loss. It was really like my thing. My dad was extremely heavy, and all I knew was I didn't want to be like that. And here I saw myself having gotten there, you know? And I was like, I'm just going to go get weight loss surgery. I give up, whatever. And then they make you wait like 6 months, and they send you to these nutritionists that don't know jack shit. And I was like, this isn't my problem. Like, I know how to eat. Nobody that's in that situation hasn't already like tried everything. That's not my problem. Now I look back and it was friggin' perimenopause, but our doctors don't know shit about that. That's a whole nother topic. So anyhow, I made this everyday adventure list, and I set about doing all these things, and one of them was meditation. And this is what cracked it like wide open for me. Within 2 weeks, I was regulating my nervous system, but more than that, I was connecting. I'd get like this hum inside of me, like this feeling of being home, of just being rested. And you know, they say a 20-minute meditation is more powerful than a nap even, right? Like you're going to this space of complete rejuvenation. And that started a quest. I found life coaching, and then Julia Cameron's work and the magic pages I started telling you guys about. And I started doing journaling every morning, and then making 90-day plans. And that first time I made a 90-day plan, and I sat down and I took like 4 hours to ask myself, hey, what would it really take if you really wanted to do this? You know, and I was like, well, I'd stop drinking, because the wine wench and I were having a little dance, you know, like I'd lose weight all week, and then I get to the weekend and drink all this wine and eat all the shit like you do after you've been drinking. And so I got real serious, and I was like, well, I would do this. I'm going to take it 1 week at a time. And so I did, you guys. And that first 90 days, I lost 30 pounds, right? And so since then, so I had lost 120 pounds and went through this whole spiritual crack me wide open thing. And I think since I've moved back here to Hawaii, it's a long story, you guys, but I had to move back here to Hawaii, and my health isn't the best here. And I really struggled initially with that, and went into like this regain phase where I regained like 80 pounds. I was trying to figure out my new life with my job, with everything. And it was, it was challenging, to say the least. It was like, it felt like all I could do is roll out of bed and go to work. My face was all inflamed. And so it was a journey of healing. And I really tried to be in my spiritual routines. I even got my yoga teacher training certificate, just trying to capture that again. And it took me deciding to leave my job, really, and put myself first. And it's funny, because my podcast and my whole thing is called Me First, Midlife Badassery, because it's really about us learning to put ourselves first again. And what that looks like when you say, what does it look like if I truly just go all in on me? And that question can go a lot of different ways, right? But I think what came out of it for me was finding this something more inside of me that led to my purpose, that led to me speaking and sharing about my journey to inspire others along their journey, because it can feel so friggin' impossible. And sometimes letting it go, letting the attachment of it go, knowing that everything is working for your highest and best good, is game changing, right? Like that can change your emotions when you are not in the worry phase and you're in the faith phase, when you're in the everything is working out for me, it's working out for my highest and best good. And I'm also very much an action taker at the same point, right? And I think we'll see this with like manifestation and stuff, where you know, oh, we can just be in the high vibes and manifest it and all of that. We also, I think, have to move and show the universe what you want, right? Like, this is what I'm desiring. And the more specific you can get with it, the more it's going to deliver you. It's like, you don't randomly tell Amazon to bring you something to the door. We do this with the universe all the time. We're like, yeah, I want that thing, but not specific. I've manifested all kinds of weird shit that, like, I didn't specifically manifest. I was like, oh, I should have been more. Like, I'll manifest all kinds of stuff, like trips and vacations, like things, because I do a lot of visioning, and then, but I haven't like manifested just the money, right? So I'm working on this part and the money blocks and stuff with that, because this is part of understanding that the more I'm just in joy and love and vibration like that, the greater the return is all around from everyone, right? So I have this thing I'm working on my coach with. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay. I'm a wonderful business in a wonderful way. And it's just first of all, the word wonderful is pretty friggin' wonderful. Like, you guys should include this in your days more. It's just wonderful, you know? Like, and those are the vibrations that change how we show up in the world. Like, really, you know? Okay, I'm gonna go get a workout in. I'm not sure I talked out everything I was planning to. But look, it looks like that storm's coming back, George. All right, so I better get a move on and get some exercise in while I'm here, because I've just been flapping my jaws. All right, thanks for listening, you guys. Until next time, more on the woo and the weight loss next week's podcast. podcast from the pool with yours truly. Follow along for more. Slayer out.